we'll see
So
now.
tell us, I mean, now we know that you are in the studio and you can basically not go out. But what is your normal routine when you work in the studio? You start in the morning, you go to your workplace, and then you stay there the whole day, or how does that work?
Well, first I go to the Island Bay Bitches, and we are a coffee group of local people. Yeah, they might be listening in now. They know who they are. And sometimes this is actually the only, I mean, I work with Carl, my partner, Carl Fritsch. He also has a space here in the studio. So we do work together. But sometimes that coffee group is my only sort of social time I have. So we meet and we gossip. And yeah, and then pretty much it is sort of a kind of routine. I'll come back and do office work, computer things, various stuff. Yeah, and then it's either sort of late morning by that point, and then I'll come into the workshop. And depending on what happens, I'll stay here for a few hours. Yeah, depending what's happening with my daughter or anything, other stuff comes up. That's pretty much my typical kind of day. Yeah.
So the gossiping in the morning, you will have to skip that, I guess.
Very important.
Yeah, and that cannot happen
No.
For the moment.
No, that's terrible. And I've heard this from friends actually who are in Europe, and that some of the hardest, I think the hardest part is not seeing your mates. We are such social creatures, all of us. Yeah. And yeah, but you know, we're only in day 2 of this, so it looks like there's going to be some interesting communication methods.
Apparently, like live streams via Instagram.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I have to admit that one of the expressions I hate the most is social distancing.
Oh, yeah.
I think is a horrible expression.
It's weird, isn't it?
I mean, okay, it's physical distance. That's very needed, and I think everyone understands that. But we are, as you said, we are all social creatures. So I think we need communication a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So in Germany, this is a phrase as well. In English, do you say it?
Yes,
or?
yes.
Ah, okay.
It's used a lot. It's everywhere, actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of new words that have been, very common now.
Created at the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you show us a bit around in your studio, Lisa? Is that possible?
I can indeed, yes.
Once we have the chance, cannot miss it.
Here we are. Oh, this has the quality when I move around?
Yes, it's perfect. It's fine.
Yeah. This is, oh, God, it looks full on. It's not really that full on when I'm sitting there, but somehow in that video. Yeah, so these are all my shelves of materials. That I use all the time. That's where I sit. Various other things there. I'll go into the materials a bit. Oh, there's a necklace made out of some of those.
Oh, wow. So you have more of them.
Many.
You have that in the exhibition, no?
Well, they break so easily. They're very fine. Their skin is really thin and fragile. Yeah.
So you are adding actually pieces to that shelf every day, or whenever you find something?
Yes, probably. I have a little box at home and things just get added to the box, and then I bring the box over probably once a week. Yeah, and that end is where all the new things go, really. The newer in that table. Yeah. I usually sit there to make, and then every now and again I sit here, which is The proper goldsmith.
If that's not too private a question, but are you sharing that workspace with Carl, or he has his own workspace?
No, he has his own. So out here, if you look out these doors, there's actually the sea is that way.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the sea from there. And then that's my daughter's painting. And that's her sort of corner there, what she's doing.
Very cool.
If we walk through, there's our workshop kitchen with our e-bike and this awesome weaving that we bought not long ago. You can see how big it is. Very, wow. Very large. Now, what was her name? I should say her name. Oh, okay. Oh, there. Sorry, Judy Wilson. So this was probably made in about the 70s. Yes. Mm-hmm. Then we come into the hallway. There's chicks on speed down the end. Wow. Various pieces of art that we collect by various people. Ceramics. That's a card to Carl from our son. Yeah, and then and there is Puff.
Ooh, the cat.
Yeah.
How's she called?
Puff lives here because our dog tried to eat him when we first got our dog. So Puff lives in the workshop and spends time with us during the day now.
Okay.
And this is Carl's workshop.
Mm-hmm.
So his view is of a hill and forest because he couldn't handle the sea view. Kitty! Yeah.
He couldn't handle the sea view. I mean,
no.
Of course, as he's from Bavaria, he needs the mountains, I guess.
Exactly. Shall we just see? Let's come and look. Let's come and meet Luna, who's our German exchange student. There she is.
Hi, Luna. Hi there.
Luna's 15 and she can't get back to Germany. Yeah. We laugh, but we haven't always laughed. But now the German government is sending some planes to New Zealand, and she will be on one of them.
Okay, so she can go back to her family, of course.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and luckily we have a lovely guest room there for her. Here we are. That's sort of it.
Thank you very much. That was a nice tour, Lisa.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So maybe
and also has a downstairs area. Where all the casting equipment and larger pieces of machinery are. Yeah.
So maybe it's too early to ask that question, but you think that the current situation will be in any sort influencing new works that you are doing right now? Will that be something that you will include in your work?
It hasn't yet. Definitely hasn't yet. Yeah, mind you, I've been finishing 2 pieces that I've been working on for probably a month or so, 3, or just after I got back. No, I can't say. I would assume, of course, somehow, but what form that will take, no idea. Yeah.
How is your practice, Lisa? Are you concentrating on 1 or 2 pieces and then you try to finish them over a certain time? Or you have several pieces that you're working on and you're putting them aside and then you come back to them and you try to elaborate on them? How is your working routine?
Yeah, it's quite different. So there's some pieces I began, like in fact I just finished a necklace where I've used an element on the necklace that I made probably at least 15 years ago. So I'm using that object. Yeah, it's just been sitting there in my experiments box. So not even on the shelves, actually. Yeah. And that's now an element in this necklace. Yeah. And it's sort of I'm not entirely convinced it's really good. But I think it is. And I think it looks good with these other elements. And that's enough then to carry on. Sometimes I don't have to be entirely convinced, you know, totally convinced that it's good, which sounds so strange anyway. But yeah, and then other times a piece will be very, very quick. So the other piece I've made at exactly the same time is the inners, maybe I can show it, is the inners of stone cutting. This here. So
oh, wow, how beautiful.
That's how big. And these are the inner sort of tubes that come out when you cut into stone. And a sculptor friend of mine gifted me these. Chris Charteris is his name. He's from the Coromandel. He gifted me and Carl a whole box of those that were sort of like offcuts that he decided, that he didn't want. And that's recent. Yeah, that material is recent. The tier, of course, is from Willestuk.
Of course.
Yes, so that's also quite a new shape for me, the tier. Yeah, so it's funny that both those necklaces are being made at the same time. So I jump around all the time. There isn't really a system to it or
But then once you consider them to be finished, you let them sit in that table, for example, and you look at them and then you decide, okay, this is really it, or no, it's not yet done. I have to come back.
No, I know immediately when it's done.
You know immediately.
When it's perfect. It's like with the install at Willestuk, I knew immediately, bang, that's done. No more pieces anywhere, none to take away, none to put up. The painting was exactly right. It's That's
a good moment to show another view of the exhibition.
Yes. Oh, you're upstairs now?
I'm upstairs. Whoa, that's rather blurry. There you go. No, I mean, it was amazing for us to follow you in that process of installing the exhibition. Because you had these large tables with basically all the material in front of you. And it seemed like a very precise, but at the same time, a very intuitive way of installing, because you took pieces and it always looked like you knew exactly where you want to place them. Although there was not a plan written down.
No.
I mean, we had the shapes and we had the colors and that was installed, but then you seem to be picking up the pieces and you knew exactly where they go.
Yes.
Is that right?
So
is that the right impression?
Yeah, I mean, I would walk around a bit. Every now and again I would try one next to another piece. But pretty quickly they find their place. Yeah, their home. And that part of it was so great. I could be so so spontaneous like that. Because there's no way you can plan that. There's no way. You have to be in there. The painting or whatever it is, the presentation has to be as complete as it can, and then the pieces find their homes, really. And
here we have this beautiful sheep island.
Yes.
Did you have done this kind of arrangement before, Lisa?
Yes, I have, at Hamish Mackay Gallery in Wellington. It was smaller. There was a less amount of sheepskins, and the pieces were different. But that was the first time that I tried laying these different kinds of sheepskins next to each other like an island. And yeah, I was really, really happy with it. And also then at Gallery SO in London, another similar presentation as well. Again, with different pieces though. So, and yeah, where the sheepskins lie, I mean, that always changes, really. There's no sort of recipe or plan there. That's also quite a spontaneous action. Yeah. Makes me think, I wonder if it could even get bigger, perhaps. You know, because it's quite small, really, isn't it? That island. It could even grow.
It could grow, of course.
Also, when I put those pieces on it, I had them quite spread out, quite almost evenly, not really, but quite spread out around the sheepskins. And yeah, it didn't look any good. So it was really important that they come in a group like that and start to get quite close to each other. And yeah, I think that's just exactly right now.
I think it's a very beautiful arrangement up here in that space. I mean, we had some amazing feedback about the colors, the shapes on the walls, how you were distributing the pieces. People really love it, and it opens the space a lot. How did you feel when you first entered those galleries? I mean, we actually went through the whole building, kind of.
We did.
Trying to find the best place for the exhibition.
Yes.
And obviously we always showed the jewelry exhibitions in the villa, so in the other part of the building. But I think you immediately knew that these galleries would be the right place for your exhibition.
I did. I saw them. I saw the little tour we did together, like with the apartment that he used to live in, Franz von Stuck. And I saw the decorated walls, these incredible, mind-blowing spaces. But I immediately thought, oh, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with those rooms? I mean, that would have been an incredible challenge. I would have certainly tried if that was the only choice. And somehow, yeah, but you can't hang pieces directly on those walls. Yeah, anyway, it's... that would have been interesting. Yeah, and then the middle spaces, I thought, oh yeah, this is interesting again. So these are spaces, if people haven't been there, that are sort of the in-between area. How would you describe those?
Yeah, it was still the private area of Stuck, like the bedrooms and the bathroom and all those places, and then in the top floor he had the kitchen and all those things, like the infrastructure that was in the second floor of the villa.
Right.
But basically now they are kind of empty, quite neutral rooms and spaces for changing exhibitions. Yes,
and I thought, oh yes, I could see something happening here as well. And then we went into his studio for those other two spaces. I thought, oh wow, well that's easy. I was clear. That was clear for me, and wonderfully they were there too to say yes to. So,
because that was a bit also like the installation that you had in Melbourne for the show. Actually, that was also quite big spaces, high ceilings. Kind of empty without any architectural installations, just plain. Huge gallery spaces. Yeah, so the space in Melbourne, so that was at the RMIT Gallery, Design Hub Gallery it's called, and that's 30 meters long but 9 meters high are the walls, and really skinny, I think 10 meters across or something. So a long, skinny, very high walled gallery. And my first reaction was to sort of make it smaller for my work, like create walls maybe, or make smaller spaces in it. And then I actually saw what Martino Gumper did in that space with his 100 chairs. And he just had his 100 chairs and he just put them on the ground. And I thought, oh, right, yes, this is this incredible giant space. And
why on earth would you want to make it smaller or change it actually in any way? Why not totally love it, celebrate it? And that's, yeah, that was huge for me, really, that sort of changing and thinking. And then, yeah, and that's when the ideas of this thing of giantness, and I love this with jewellery, the giantness and tininess, and making, how can I make this space a kind of like a pendant, really? It's the same zone I am in while looking at those spaces, then it's the same zone as when I'm making my own work. So then once I'm in there, once I realised, I can get in that zone, then everything just flows like a river. No, not
That's
really.
Wonderful.
But then making the models at home too, in the studio. So that was also really important. So I could also really,
that is something that you do for every exhibition. The models.
I've just started that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So the last 3 shows I did that, and it's, yeah, amazing. It's a huge difference. And actually, it was funny coming back into the studio after being with you, and that the models really are so similar to the show.
They are. I mean, we basically, you were sending us pictures of those models that you made in Wellington. And it's incredible actually how similar they are to the real experience you have in the exhibition.
Isn't it?
Now it's in the objects and the colors and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's remarkable,
so you are,
really.
Well, it just shows that you're quite precise in your ideas.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think once the guts of it is done here, then you can just translate that. Yeah. In the workshop, from the workshop to the big space. Yeah.
So let me take you to you all. I mean, we should say hello maybe to everyone watching. I see that there are certain museums watching, colleagues watching. There's the Villa Stuckverein, the Friends of the Museums, they are present. So we should say hello to all of those guys.
Yes, hello.
Thank you very much for
Absolutely.
watching and for joining us.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for putting up with the English.
So here we have, well, actually here we have your daughter.
Oh, yes. There's Mia.
It's nice that she's also here. And then we have all those beautiful photographs.
Yes.
That you actually took.
So I think I have taken all of them. Yes, because they range over how long? Maybe 12 years or so. Yes, I've taken all of those, and then I just need to confirm. Yes. Oh, or no, Petra Stuben. Sorry, it's the one next to that. She actually took. And then Maki Suzuki from Abake, who are this amazing design, book publishing, graphic, all sorts of stuff, collective there in London. They took the photographs, and manipulated them for my book, 0 + 0 because 0, that they also made. Yeah. So all the sort of the analogy sort of color change, like you can tell, like he's got a really red face and really red hands.
Yeah. This
is all what they've done.
Yeah.
Oh, and the triangles, they're rather dominant.
They are definitely.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa, now we've been walking through your exhibition, which is something that visitors, people, our guests and friends, they cannot do for the moment.
I couldn't believe
is a shame, again.
Yeah, no, really.
Thank you so much for this nice conversation.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah.